I'm pretty certain that the United Arab Emirates is trying to absolutely destroy Saudi Arabia. Initially, I used to say that they're rivals. They're not really, I wouldn't say that they're direct enemies, but now I'm really starting to think that the United Arab Emirates seeks to encircle Saudi Arabia with Israel and basically fragment it. That seems like what's going on now. And this OPEC thing is just one symptom of a much larger strategy which is one of the reasons why I just absolutely hate the United Arab Emirates. Not necessarily because their treatment of Saudi Arabia in just that respect, but because of the fact that the United Arab Emirates is right up there with Israel. They're right in bed with Israel as the most destabilizing force to peace in the region. Just completely doing Zionist biddings to murder millions of people through war after war after war in 7 different countries, destabilize the region and benefit Israel. So I want you guys to take a listen to this Saudi geopolitical analyst. I've played this video before, and I want to shed a new light on it as we talk about this recent move out of OPEC and everything else. So take a quick listen to this, and let's talk about it.
Probably, and I said this, by the way, in my first article, is this feeling of jealousy that Saudi Arabia has started to shift the attention and the economic interest from the Emirates to Saudi Arabia. I think this was definitely one of the main reasons behind bin Zayed's attempts to, let me say it very frankly, to destroy Saudi Arabia. I think he has been working very hard to encourage the fragmenting of Saudi Arabia.
So in summary, this is not an emotional response.
So now that you guys saw this is, you guys know this guy. This is Bezalel Smotrich. This is the Israeli minister. So why am I showing Bezalel Smotrich? Here's a map as well. And Bezalel Smotrich here is attacking Saudi Arabia's vision for 2030, which is, they have a lot of economic goals that they want to achieve by 2030, and MBS set out this whole vision. And he goes on, he says that, Saudi Arabia's 2030 vision is absolutely dead. And it's shared with a photo of this map, and it's in Arabic. But what you're basically seeing here is a map with all of these different Israeli flags, where Israel wants to basically establish allies and encircle Saudi Arabia. And of course, the United Arab Emirates is right behind in joining this. So we have Israel, Iraqi Kurdistan is here. It says Sudan, South Yemen, because, again, they want to split Yemen into 2 different pieces. Somaliland is what they want to create. Of course, the UAE, and I believe it's right above Qatar as well, which I find interesting because I wouldn't say Qatar is an ally in that respect with the UAE too much. But regardless, what Israel is trying to do, and the Emiratis have no problem just going ahead and doing Israel's bidding, is to basically chop up Middle Eastern countries, Middle Eastern and African countries, into different opposition blocks, while the Saudis, which is so interesting, are doing the exact opposite. Saudi Arabia, and again, this is not really to tout Saudi Arabia and make them seem like this innocent thing, because keep in mind, MBS has business dealings with Jared Kushner, very much so. Very much so in alignment with that in that respect. So it's in no way to say that the Saudis now all of a sudden are, the Saudi Arabian government now all of a sudden is just this, innocent government. That's definitely not the case. What is interesting, though, is that we're starting to see a massive split, that the United Arab Emirates wants to fund opposition groups to governments in all of these countries, while the Saudis are deciding to do the opposite and are trying to back the central government of those countries. I'll give you an example. Somaliland, for example. The United Arab Emirates vastly supporting Somaliland, giving them weapons and everything else. Saudi Arabia supporting the government of Somalia. In Yemen, same exact thing. United Arab Emirates funded opposition groups in Yemen because they wanted to help Israel split Yemen into basically in half. Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, bombed weapons shipments coming into Yemen from the United Arab Emirates and is backing the government. Same exact thing everywhere we see. The United Arab Emirates, when it comes to Iraq, when it comes to Syria, they basically are in bed exactly aligned with Israeli policy. The one thing that they weren't aligned on in the beginning is this war with Iran, because they knew that if there was war with Iran, they would be a target. They're right up there, and they're in bed with Zionists. They have a lot of Zionist investments. Everything's right there. So from that perspective, they were like, okay, well, we don't want to go into the war with Iran right away. They were not happy that the war started. But now that it's already going, well, things are starting to take a different tune. So now I want to read you guys this article here, because I found it. It's really just interesting to see how things how much things have changed. So this article says, with the OPEC exit, UAE-Saudi split is complete, and West Asia now faces two rival visions. So basically, what's going on now is we're seeing these split between these two countries, and now one of them is becoming incredibly Israeli aligned. Israeli and the United States in that way. It's interesting because both the United Arab Emirates and the United States and Greece at this point, all three are just basically in bed with Zionists. They're fully Zionists through and through, and it seems as though they're acting in ways that it really even isn't beneficial for their countries, but they're doing it because it seems like they're controlled, money, blackmail, everything else. With OPEC exit, I guess the blackmail is more specific to the U.S., but with the OPEC exit, UAE-Saudi split is complete, and West Asia now faces two rival visions. And it goes on and it says, now that OPEC has been split, the UAE president, MBZ, and Saudi Crown Prince, MBS, embody two fundamentally political and ideological visions, not just for their countries, but for the region at large. They were very closely allied after the Arab Spring. And now this is the part. In 2019, the president of the UAE withdrew his forces from Yemen and threw his weight behind the rebels fighting the Saudi-backed government. Similarly, the Emiratis and Saudis found themselves on opposing sides in Sudan, Libya, and Somalia in the years that followed. Every single one of these countries, the Emiratis are funding the opposition groups in these countries. They're basically trying to keep ensuing civil war. Why the hell are the Emiratis going around and destabilizing countries, causing millions of deaths? I don't understand. Why is their entire foreign policy built on destabilizing countries and causing civil unrest? In what way? In what way does it benefit them? In Africa, they have shares in, gold and precious metals. So there's a lot of talk it's related to that. And then, of course, number one thing is that when the Zionists like you, well, you have a lot of access to capital, because that's what the Zionists help you do. You have the Zionists like you, and you have all of these Western investment firms like you, then you're chilling. And that's what MBZ and this is what the United Arab Emirates decided, okay, this is probably going to be the path forward. We could just go ahead and sell our soul, do whatever they want, destabilize all of our neighbors for the benefit of Israel, and it'll be good for us, and we'll get a lot of international investors and everything else. I find it funny that Saudi Arabia decided to do, and is also an incredibly wealthy country, and decided to take the exact opposite approach when it comes to their foreign policy, which is why now you're starting to see a bit more of the Arab world start to have more start to lean a bit, definitely notice the difference between the Saudis and the Saudi Arabia now and the United Arab Emirates. It's definitely obvious that there is a difference, because one fully sold itself out, and it's still getting bombed every day. The Emiratis were talking about, I was listening to this podcast, and they were talking about how some Emiratis were stating they're so worried, they're just simply so concerned because of the fact that Iran was sending all of these rockets over, and they were missiles over, and they were getting hit more than any other country, while not recognizing one of the reasons for that is because, again, they're in bed with Zionists through and through, and because so much of the money that's going into this country is coming from Zionist firms, is coming from Zionist investments. So, of course, they're going to be a target. And when it comes to Saudi Arabia, it took the exact opposite. Well, definitely, don't get me wrong, they're definitely investing in Zionist firms and everything else, but they took the exact opposite approach in their foreign policy. And all of these surrounding countries are recognizing that Saudi Arabia is actually backing their central governments. And if you want stability, it's probably not a good idea to not back central governments. It's probably not a good idea to back opposition groups if your goal is stability. That's why people don't do this if your goal is stability. You don't start funding all of these groups to chop apart countries. Where does the United States land, though? Well, in all of this, of course, the United States is going to align more with the United Arab Emirates because of the fact that the United Arab Emirates is again incredibly Zionist, and because they are, then the United States is going to enjoy that, especially under the current Trump administration. And that's already what we're seeing. We're seeing this shift. I've said this before when it came to Turkey, and it's going to happen to Iran very soon. Saudi Arabia very soon. They already previously said Turkey is the new Iran. Everybody already saw that viral footage of Naftali Bennett, the former prime minister of Israel, state that Turkey is the new Iran. How much longer? How much longer until Saudi Arabia becomes a stronger power in the region? How much longer until Israel starts saying that about Saudi Arabia? When? Is it after the Iran war? Is it going to be after this Turkish war that they're drooling over that hopefully never happens? At what point are they going to see Saudi Arabia, now a regional power, not just a small country, starting to back itself and starting to protect itself? At what point are they going to start turning the blame and stating that, look, we have to go after Saudi Arabia now too? Is it going to be even prior to the war with Turkey? At what point? At what point are they satisfied? At what point are they going to keep sending us to the next war, the next war, the next war? It never ends with them. It doesn't end with them. So we'll just have to see how things unfold. If you guys know a Saudi analyst, by the way, that you guys want me to interview, definitely please let me know in the comments below. I'd really like to speak to a Saudi analyst about this. Just a really high IQ thinker that you guys have been following along, that you think knows the region really well. Please send them in my comments, specifically somebody that actually lives there or has lived there. I'd appreciate that. Let me know. Otherwise, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care and have a great day. Bye, everybody.